definition of the Legacy Lounge is the stuff that he's putting together. He's a great community leader. His story is amazing.
Episode 13, my cousin Vinny.
Welcome to the lounge, man.
What's going on? How you guys doing?
Let's get a cheers,
Yeah,
man.
let's get
Hey,
it. Let's
thank
get
you
it.
for joining, baby.
Thank you. Salud. Thank you for having me, man.
Mm-hmm.
Man, well, I'm fired up. We've been talking a
That's
little
some
bit.
good mezcal,
Mezcal,
right there.
baby.
Got
Let's
the
go.
mezcal.
Hey, shout out to the mezcal boys.
Yeah.
Those are my homies.
All day.
All right. Mike's good. We
Am I
sound
close
good.
enough? Is this good? Do I need to be? Is this good distance? All right.
You're good. You're good.
Shout out to Nate's real quick.
Yes.
Hey,
shout
man.
out Nate.
The man behind all of the production who's been doing an incredible job. This dude, I wasn't doing nothing like that when I was 20 years old.
Hey, he's
You're
19 years old. He
19.
ain't even
Dude,
20,
you're gonna
man.
be
He's
great.
the magic though. He's the magic.
You're gonna be great, man.
Oh.
Your trajectory is crazy.
No doubt. No
Can
doubt.
you help fix this mixophone, by the way?
So are we going to
Feel like- it looks like
reintroduce
it's
then?
tipping over. No, we're. You see what I'm saying? I want to capture this. See, the thing is, we're like two perfectionists that people need to see this.
Right. But you noticed though, you caught it. You're like, something's off
I didn't
here.
want it to fall down. So can you look in the camera real quick and give a peace sign? There's Nate's. All right, let's get the.
Oh yeah, get that. Little bits of light make a difference behind a shot.
Taller than our previous two guests.
Ah, yeah.
What are you, 6'3"?
Like 6'1".
No,
Really?
Bullshit.
You're tripping, bro.
Bullshit.
I think it's the hair that gives like an optical illusion, you know?
I'm just under 6'1". You taller than me, man.
So, all right, man, let's get it going because I'm really fired up to have you here, bro.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Telling you the close homie who I talk to almost on the daily. Shout out to Weston Ramirez,
Vato Trampa.
Vato Trampa.
Big shout out to my boy Weston,
Let's
Vato
go.
Trampa. Love
Let's
you, bro.
go. He's a neighbor of mine, a homie, and I know that you guys do music together and you guys have been rolling together.
So first question is, why do you hang out with that guy, man?
So that's a story, man. So we got some time today.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Why don't we actually just get right there? How did you meet Weston?
So the funny thing about that, man, is, you know, we're like, I call it like a waves, right? You have generations of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the generation of your parents, right? The generation of us, parents, grandparents, whatever. But within that, I feel like there's waves and like smaller periods of time. And so my wave as a DJ in the scene here in Sacramento, you know, probably early 20s, I'm like 21. Well, Weston was still actively DJing in the scene at the same time, but, you know, 10 years my senior. So, like, we crossed paths and we didn't really know each other, but because we were both playing around town, we would run into each other at different shows,
Yeah.
different gigs, right?
Yeah.
And so we kind of like knew each other, but didn't know each other. And eventually, I don't know how we started talking to each other, but one day, I think he might have came to Golden Bear when I was playing in the back bar.
Oh, Golden Bear. I
Yeah.
spent some time in that little place. I love it.
My brother Mike Diamond and I, we had a long-standing residency there called Back Bar Saturdays back in the day.
Nice.
And I think that's where him and I finally had a conversation where I was like, man, dude, like I keep seeing you, like I know you do music, I do music, like we should work on some stuff, man.
Oh, I love it.
And so that happened, and then the pandemic happened. And so it was literally in 2020 where we were trying to coordinate like working together.
Yeah.
But there was the lockdown, you know, things got really weird. And so what ended up happening is we just did it remotely.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, all right, bro, let's work on something.
Yeah.
Hey, send me some ideas. Send me some demos or some rough sketches, and then I'll take it. I'll send you some stuff. You send me some stuff, and we'll just start working. We'll just start working, right? Working on some material. So that's how it started.
Yeah.
That's how it started, right? And so he would send me some ideas. He was really good at sampling, finding dope samples, chopping it up, doing the boom. You know, he comes from that 90s hip hop boom bap.
Yep.
boom
Yep.
bap background with the chop, you know, the
Yep.
Jay Dilla sampling. Like,
You can hear that he's an I when you listen to his music, it sounds like old soul,
it is.
very old soul, man.
Yeah.
And for those listening, that's the person who did our intro. I want to put the name and the
Our
face and the
intro,
sound
like,
together.
that you will hear
Our
once this-
intro is from who we're talking about
Yep.
here.
Wow.
Big up, man.
That's
So
crazy.
so now fast forward to how you guys. I don't know if this is a joint venture. Or we talked about it earlier, but tell us what is Brown and Down? What's that all about?
Well, that's what led to Brown and Down.
Got
so
it.
we started realizing these ideas and coming to actual songs, right? And I were like, man, I was like, dude, we need to do an EP of like the best tracks, because we have a bunch of tracks that we've finished that we're still working on that are still in the pipeline.
Yeah.
Right. But it was like, all right. At the time, I was like really like hell bent on being like a perfectionist. And so I was like, nah, we got to pick like the most fire ones. And so one day, I think I just hit him up one day and I was like, dude, I got it. We should do an EP and we should call it Brown and Down.
Let's go.
I don't know how I came up with that name, but I was just like, we're both Chicano, you know, we're both down. You know what I'm saying? Like, keep it simple, you know? And he was like, sold. He's like, let's do it. So pandemic made things weird. And fast forward, like all from 2020 to like literally when we dropped it in 2023, like things started opening up. We started going to like Almana Labs over on 16. You know, Jay Intel, my boy Pete Space. Shout out Pete Space, one of the best engineers in Sacramento.
Let's go.
That's our guy. So we would go see Pete at Almana, rent the studio, and get down to the mixing and the mastering and doing all that. And we came up with a 5-track EP, which was Brown and Down.
This is crazy because I didn't. It's funny because I don't know, like Wes isn't the dude that even just like explains it. But I told you for my birthday, he gave me some Brown and Down stickers. I
Yeah.
put one on my water bottle. Zero idea what it was about. But now I understand that. So is that on Spotify? Like, where can I listen to it?
Yeah, so we dropped it. Oh, man, when did we drop? I think we dropped it in July. July of 2023.
Okay.
And so, you know, it's been a culmination. It's been a culmination of like 2 to 3 years of us working on it. And it sounds like a long time for 5 tracks, but at the time it was like something that was very I felt like I was like Dr. Dre in the studio, making sure we had every single track sounding like amazing. And it was a learning experience. And so it's out on all platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, you know, Amazon Music, pretty much any streaming and downloading platform.
What type of music, if you'd have to describe it, would you describe it as?
Man, so at the highest level, I would say it's kind of like, I kind of see us as like, and this isn't to compare artist names at all.
Of course.
I kind of see where we're taking the direction of like blending Latin and electronic music with all these other elements. We're kind of like the Chicano Daft Punk.
Oh, hey, I like that.
And I'm not trying to be
I
like
like
weird
that.
when I say that.
Yeah.
But like with the vocals, because I have like some of my vocals on there, but it's like robot, like a little mixture of like crazy auto-tune robot effects kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not like singing like an R&B singer. It's more about vocal flavor on top of like the main feature, which is like the beats, the production, right? So it's Brown and Down is like an idea. It's like a concept. You know what I mean? It's not so much our name. It's not our duo name, but it kind of has taken shape as that. So like if we do something together, it's like, oh, we could call it like a Brown and Down remix of someone's song.
Yeah.
But it's really Vato and West.
like
It's
that.
Vato and my cousin Vinny.
I like
Vato
that.
Trampa and my cousin Vinny. We are Brown and Down, but we're not Brown and Down necessarily as like an artist name, if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes complete sense. Oh, man.
So it's like there's no rules with this stuff.
no,
man. So, like,
exactly.
like that's what I love about creativity and music and production is like we make the rules.
Yeah.
So if we want it to be it could be fluid. It could be anything we want it to be.
I love it.
I was actually almost like hesitant on asking you the question. I'm not an artist. You are, right? But one thing I know I'd love to hear you chime in on this, is when I say, what type of music is it? You know what I mean? Like, that's like almost putting it in a box a little bit. Because my favorite band, STS9.
Soundtribe Sector 9.
Yeah.
I used to listen to those guys back in the day.
So I've gone to over 100 shows for 21 years now. Like, it's
100 shows.
over 100 shows, 21 years.
Lord.
And the thing about it is, if I just say, oh, they're electronic, then you're going to now have a perception that they're just electronic. But I'm like, but they're a 5-piece band. All right, so what do they play? Well, it's kind of funk. But then they're also kind of jazz. They're also a little hip. They're just a lot of everything. But I don't know. It just feels like sometimes when you say, like, what type of music is it? It's like you're kind of almost putting it into a box.
Right.
But you described it really well.
No,
Thanks,
no
man.
doubt.
Thank
No
you.
doubt. And love that we got into that part, but we want to know who you are, man. Give us a little bit about your upbringing, man. Where you from? Where you grow up? What did things look like?
So I'm from Sacramento, born and raised, man.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to West Campus High School.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I am.
Used to be Hiram Johnson West Campus.
Yep.
Back in the day. So yeah, man. I'm born and raised. You know, I've been around long enough to know that back when people would think that Sac was a cow town, and you know, back in the old Arco Arena days, you know, like Sacramento's come a long way, man.
Sure has.
And over the years of me touring and like playing in other cities and other parts of the country, like I've noticed a literally national like understanding of like, oh, people actually know about Sacramento now, you know, and I've always been an advocate for that when I've been on tour, going to like Texas for South by Southwest or LA or, you know, Miami or anywhere, all the other places I've been. And so it's kind of cool. I don't think Sacramento's ever been as cool as it is now.
Yeah.
And I think we're in a really, really good position to represent where we're from and still do what we do. And I love it here, man.
I love it.
I'm not moving. I don't mind traveling to do what I have to do, but I'm always going to rep Sacramento, man, because I think Sacramento's dope.
It is.
I love it.
And that's one of the reasons why we moved the studio here, just because we were out, and the gentleman that had where we were renting space is a great dude. Shout out to Sac Collective. But we wanted to be more like in the heartbeat of Sacramento. Right? We're passionate. You know, we sell real estate, and you know, a lot of the spots that we frequent, whether it be restaurants, bars, etc., is more around here. So I'm with you, man. It's just been beautiful. Even like walking like around the North Oak Park Triangle, I'm like, man, being from Sacramento and just seeing what it used to be, what it is now, and seeing businesses thriving and the music scene changing, it's amazing.
It is. Yeah, so I mean, growing up here, man, it was cool. You know, I had a good childhood and everything, and I think what really started the journey for me was I consider myself lucky because I figured out what I wanted to be, what I wanted to do at a very young age.
I like that.
And when I share this story, because I've shared it with many people, I've done other interviews, podcasts, you know, stuff like that, talking about the same stuff.
Yeah.
And so it started off, I was always really into music, and it's so crazy because I'm going to take it even a step further back.
Yeah.
One of my first memories as a baby, you could say a child, like an infant, not an infant, I would say toddler.
Yeah.
Toddler. I don't know how old I was. All I know is that one of my first memories that kind of influenced where I am now was Christmas. My dad, one of the gifts my dad got me for Christmas, this is back in the 90s, early 90s. It was one of those little handheld, it was Sony, mind you, too, but it was for kids. It was those tape recorders that you hold with the handle.
Yeah.
But it has a microphone where you can record yourself talking into it on a cassette, and you can play it back and listen to it.
Oh, yeah.
My
It was
dad-
over since then? Ooh.
I'm telling you,
I
dude, I had
love
to
it.
be like 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah.
But one of those vivid memories that's etched in my brain is me playing with it and with my dad, and I'm recording myself and I'm singing into it, and we're playing it back and I'm listening to it.
That's crazy.
And I was like,
love it.
I didn't know what it was. I just knew that that was cool, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like one of the early, I feel like, subconscious seeds that gets planted in your brain that kind of like has you not necessarily going in a certain direction yet, but just something that you'll always remember, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So fast forward to as a young adolescent, I was really into music. I just was something about music. I was naturally just inclined with it. You know, did a little bit of piano lessons when I was a kid.
Okay.
And was like, okay, this is cool. I like this. Then I started doing like dancing, like hip hop kind of dancing, right?
Yeah.
And so I was put into this like dancing company, like a hip hop dance production company where
How old were you then?
I was
Get the
probably, I think it was 8 through 10 or 11.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And it was, they would put on these shows, productions, doing choreographed routines.
Yep.
You know, that's where I learned the popping and the locking
Yep.
and like
Oh,
the elements of hip hop, the
Oh, yeah.
graffiti. And that's where I started learning about the DJ part, right? And this was like, this was instrumental in me being where I'm at now because my teacher would expose us to like, we were dancing to like the 80s electro, like the original electro.
Yeah.
Planet Patrol, you know, Africa Bambaataa, the Soul Sonic
is
Force, you know,
badass.
Egyptian Lover,
Let's
Herbie
go.
Hancock. Like, I was exposed to all of this, like, this was like the early dance music. This was the dance music before house,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It's all connected somehow.
Yep.
But it was like the 808 drums, the rolling 808s. Like, I was like, whoa, this sounds crazy. I like this. And so I started like listening to it and studying it, right? That company, this was back when the Kings were dope in the early 2000s, late 90s. That same company I danced for, we danced at the Kings games on the half court.
I literally thought about with the age you're talking about. I was like, we talking about because they, you know, the
During
Warriors, the Kings,
Fandemonium.
like, I
Fandemonium.
love it.
The Sacramento hip hop crew, we were
That's
the ones
dope.
running out on the halftime, breakdancing on the court,
Yeah.
and pop, and I did that.
Yeah.
And I'm
yeah.
like 11 years old, 10 years
oh
old,
man,
doing what I was doing, right? And I'm like, yo, this is dope. Like,
yeah,
and all my life, there's been all these moments where I'm like, I've just been something about entertaining people.
yeah.
I've just like been attached to it. I don't know why. Whether it's that or DJing or music, like, so I naturally progress into like, yo, I want to DJ. This looks really cool, right?
Yeah.
So one year I was like 12 years old. My parents got me a pair of turntables and a mixer for like my birthday or something. And it was like a little Newmark DJ starter pack, a 2-channel mixer and two belt drive turntables.
Oh yeah.
You graduated from the Sony.
Yeah.
Right. And once I got that, it was game over.
Dang.
So I'm 12 years old, and my mom is dropping me off at Tower. She's dropping me off at Virgin. I'm going to Records on Broadway.
yeah.
12s. As a kid, bro. I was the kid digging for, I wasn't playing sports. I never was into that.
Yeah.
I was digging for vinyl. I was finding records. And I started off doing hip hop. So
Yeah.
I was like in my room learning how to mix and scratch and DJ. And at the same time, that's when like LimeWire and Kazaa and all like Napster, all those peer-to-peer pirate software applications were big. So then I got a bootleg copy of Fruity Loops and then I started making beats. And so that combination, man, I was just in my room making music, learning, studying music from then to now. I'm still doing that.
Damn.
So like I consider myself really lucky because I figured it out right away, very early. Like, oh, I'm doing this is what I'm doing. Like,
Man, you found a passion, and it sounds like you're a student of the game. You were immediately going that back. Before, I don't want to get too far off the topic. I got to ask, please tell me, do you have some of that footage of you dancing at the halftime at the Kings? Can we dig some of that up?
I could try. I could try. I think it's somewhere in a cardboard box somewhere.
Oh, it's all
in
good.
my
I
storage.
just had to ask that before we got farther away
Yeah.
from that, man. But
Yeah.
like I said, student of the game, digging into the crates and everything like that. So now you're developing a passion, and I'm assuming that just continued to grow as you continue to learn about different things, different parts, and mashing this music together, huh?
Yeah. I mean, that's really how it happened, man. I mean, I'll never forget, man, my first gig, quotes,
Where is
first
this gig at?
It
Where's
was
the
like
gig at?
7th grade, 6th or 7th grade. I had a classmate, Liza. It just so happens my last name's Miranda, but her last name was Miranda. No relation. But she had a birthday party and she wanted me to DJ.
Oh,
Because
it's
the
7th
6th
grade. This is
graders, my
great.
class, they knew that I was into that,
Yeah.
right? And so she was like, "Yeah, can you like DJ my birthday party?"
Yeah.
This is in like 6th or 7th grade,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I was like, "Hell yeah!" So I bring my turntables, I bring my mixer, and I didn't have speakers at the time, but what I did have was this. There was like this JVC boombox that I had. It was
Yeah.
like this. Remember those ones that looked like cannons?
Yep.
That had the 2 subs
Yes.
on the side,
Yes.
2 subwoofers.
Yes.
I had one of those, right? So my sound system was I brought that and I ran an aux cord from the mixer to the aux in of the boombox, and that
man.
was my
That's
sound
great.
system.
What a great story. That's great.
So when I would practice at home, this is a little adjacent tangent. When I would practice at home, I would do that setup and record to the tape deck that was on the boombox. So I would record my mixes when I was in high school
Dang.
and give them out as tapes to my friends when I was like learning and shit, right?
Let's go.
Little side story.
Let's go. I love that, man. The
Like-
hustle was real, man. The hustle was
The,
real.
the equipment has changed since then.
A lot. Brought my records to the party. I had my crate of records, you know, and I'll never forget that because it was like in the garage, and this was like, we're kids, man.
Mhm.
We're kids.
At what point did you get the name My Cousin Vinny? I want you to tell us about how you got that name.
I love it. I love it.
So I have to give credit to my boy Mike Diamond. Shout out Mike Diamond, because prior to My Cousin Vinny, my original name was Mindbender. And before I was a DJ, well, as I was DJing, I was also experimenting with like rap. I thought I was going to be a rapper.
Yep.
Right, because I was making beats. I'm a
Yep.
DJ. Might as well rap too.
Yep.
I thought I was going to be a rapper too, but it didn't work out.
Didn't work out for me
me.
either.
You
Yeah.
Still, you still got time, man.
I still got time. Weston, if you're hearing this, I need a beat.
Send those beats, man. Send the beats. So it was DJ Mindbender was the name, right? It was kind of all encompassing, all encompassing. And then it's funny. I started rocking with my boy Mike Diamond, and he was like a mentor for me. You know, took me under his wing, and he was throwing a really. This was like at this point. This is probably like 2008, 2009. He had. He was doing like this indie electro dance party here in town that was like blowing up, and it was called Risque. And him and I got cool. We started hanging out, got to know each other, and he put me on. He was like, "Yo, you want to come be a resident DJ? Like, I fuck with you. Come through." And so before that part happened, though, you know, I was still pursuing the DJ thing. I was going to college at the time, still producing, and I was like showing him like stuff that I was working on. Like, yeah, like check this out. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? Whatever. And he was actually the one that gave me some advice. And he was like, I'll never forget that, because one day he was like, "Hey man," it was like in a text or something. I forgot exactly how he told me, but he was like, "Man, I think you should change your name, bro." And I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, man." And it wasn't a diss. It was
Of
constructive
course.
criticism,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
He was like, "I'm gonna be honest, man. Your name sounds like an action figure."
I totally agree.
That's good.
See, I was like, he's like, "Yo, DJ Mindbender, you sound like an action figure," and I was like, "Okay." He was like, "You should come up with a new name, man. Think about a new name." And it wasn't like a demand. It was just like, "Hey, bro, like,
Yeah. Suggestion.
you know,
Yeah.
when it's somebody you look up to, you take their advice."
No
right?
doubt.
Literally, that's when he told me that, I was like thinking really hard. Go to sleep, wake up the next morning, and straight up, when I woke up the next morning, I was like, My Cousin Vinny. For many reasons. And I like the parallels stacked up because, one, that's my name.
Yeah.
My name is
Yeah.
Vinny.
Yeah.
Well, Vincent, but everybody calls me Vinny. Two, one of my favorite movies
Of
is the
course,
movie
that-
My Cousin Vinny.
Badass.
Right?
Iconic.
Yes.
Iconic, classic movie.
Yep.
And three, the integration of my culture, like being Latino, is I have hella cousins, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I had this forethought of like, yo, this is going to work. And in the future, it's going to work even more because a lot of my cousins were the same age, right? And so like a lot of times they're out and about and they hear my name come up from like somebody else. And they're like, oh, you know Vinny? They're like, oh, he's really my cousin Vinny.
That's
like,
great.
That's really my cousin. Like,
That's great. I love it. I
So-
love it.
I woke up, literally it just was like from God or I don't know, from the universe or something. And I hit up Mike and I was like, yo, Mike, I got it. Boom. And I told him, he was like,
Did he
"That's
bless
it."
you? He
Yeah,
blessed
he
you.
was
He
like, he was like,
yes.
that's it right there. It's stuck ever since, man. So
Oh,
that's yeah.
Hey, we all need those people in our lives that push us a little bit outside of our comfort zone, hit you with something that you're like, what?
Yeah.
And it turns it. And there you go. There you go. And then he blessed you with it when he said it,
Yeah.
man.
And it's been working ever since, man. I'm like, I
Man.
feel like that's it. That's what it is, you know.
That's dope. When did that change happen? How long ago was that?
Oh man.
So I always try to get the timeline. I always want to get the timeline.
It happened before. So, like I told you, he asked me to be
Yep.
his resident DJ. It happened before he asked me to do that.
Mm,
So, to be fair, let's say that probably happened in 2008,
gotcha.
and then the opportunity to be a resident at his party at the time was in 2009. It was like
That's dope.
November of 2009 is when I first played that risque party, and
That's dope.
it's been the rest is history, man.
And obviously we know a little bit of your resume, but we want to allow everybody to hear, this escalation to the heights that you have, because you've played all over the place, man. So what was the next steps after that? You get your residence DJ at your spot there. Like what were the elevator steps that started taking you to where you started getting all over the place like we know you have?
I think it's just been a long span.
Yeah.
It's a lot of it too is just kind of like right place, right time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Hey, that's life, right?
Putting myself in positions of like going out of town, like literally, like finding either anybody in your network that I knew or that was a promoter that was throwing a club, throwing a show, whatever. Like there are these micro, not even micro, I would say. There's just these opportunities that presented themselves over the years, over the last, I've been professionally DJing, I would say the last over 16 years now.
Yeah.
So in that time, it's been a lot of like reaching out to people, going to LA, going to San Francisco, traveling, finding people, finding any way. I knew somebody that, let's say, oh, there's an opportunity to open for some bigger DJ in Santa Clara, or, take it a step further. This is like early 20s. It was the frat party circuit.
Yeah.
The sorority circuit, going to Santa Barbara for Flotopia and finding a frat house that was like needed a DJ, and I just happened to be there. Like those moments, like they all add up.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk to me about your favorite stops. Give me a little, come on. You had some great stops. Tell me about them. Now, Flotopia is off the chain.
South
I know you remember
So,
Flotopia. I know you remember that, right?
listen, my daughter, she's 17. She wants to go to Santa Barbara, have one of my I consider her my niece. She's there right now. And I love that they're in a beautiful spot, but I'm like, man, this is party time out here.
But you never partied, so I don't think
I never did. Me?
Yeah,
No,
Lexi's
hell no.
Lexi's not gonna have anything to worry about because she doesn't have that bloodline. You
No.
were just a boring dude that never really went out.
That's right.
So
That's how it was written.
South by Southwest has to rank as one of the top places you've performed, right?
100%.
So before you even get there, what got you in there? Like something sprung you to that point, because that spot, that event is legit.
Have you been?
I have not been myself, but plenty of people around me have, and I know that to be kind of the mecca.
Bro, I gotta just tell you a quick story real quick.
Yeah.
So I'm in Austin. I would go to Austin every year because the brokerage I worked at, Keller Williams, they're based out of Austin.
Okay.
And they would have their big annual trainings every year It was like a 5-day thing. You go there for 5 days. And
Nice.
of course, at the time, I was dating a woman from Norway.
Oh wow.
So Norwegian. We met when I was backpacking in Vietnam. So super wild story.
Wow.
And she ended up moving out to Berkeley, and she went to school in Berkeley for about a year.
Mm-hmm.
So when I had the trip to Austin, she went with me. So I'm with all these realtors. She's with me. Can't make this up. One of the biggest bands to ever come out of Norway was performing at South by Southwest.
Wow.
So she flips out, and it was like it took place, as you know, the venues are just all over the board, right?
6th Street, that whole downtown area.
Yeah, but they would also have venues that felt like it was in somebody's backyard.
Yeah.
There's Rainy Street where they took all those like houses and converted them into bars and stuff. So
Yeah.
we got to witness one of her favorite Norwegian bands at South by Southwest. It was wild.
Wow.
That was
That's
wild.
a story.
Yeah.
That's a good one right there.
Yeah. And if you need any additional selling points on why you should go at least once, talk to Weston. Talk
Yeah.
to Vato, because he actually went with me when I went out there in 2022.
Was Scott Gilbert with you guys too?
Scott was with us too.
Yep. Shout out Scott.
Shout out Scott from Get a Clue.
Get a clue.
Yeah. Yeah. He got a clue when he was there. That's for sure.
A lot of good food.
Yeah.
A lot of good eye candy and just music. And it's not just music too. I mean, they got the film festival stuff going
Yes.
on and art, like
Bro,
you name it.
It's just energy. Like
Artist
when you-
paradise,
It's
right?
energy, bro. Like you talk about like some crazy vibes, man. When you're there around people, thousands of like-minded people that are hungry, that are trying to get discovered, that are all there for the same reason as you. Like there's no time wasted. It's like you run into people and they could be upcoming artists, but you could also run into like big names.
Yeah.
You could go to a party, you don't know who you're going to run into.
Mm.
So it's like you get your elevator pitch ready, you have your business cards, everything's just ready to go, and it's all about it's networking, bro. Like, you know what I mean? It's crazy, man.
Hit us with your elevator pitch that you were back then before you got on.
What do you mean,
Hit us with what if you got an opportunity, you got to say who you are and you got to be out there.
man?
What you used to hit people with?
Honestly, I had my elevator pitch ready to go the first time I ever went.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And so what's crazy about that story is, it was 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been following South by Southwest. I knew about it just researching on social media, on the internet. And I was like, there was certain parties, promoters, collectives of artists that I was following that were in Austin, right? And so I was doing research, and connecting dots and figuring out, okay, like, this is big. I don't know exactly what this is yet. I know it's big.
Yeah.
I think I need to be here. Something told me like I need to go here for what I'm doing, right? So 2017, it was wild, man. And I believe in like the universe. I believe in like signs, and I believe that when you're on your path, the universe will tell you, like, let you know, yeah, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Let's
you need to
go.
keep
I love
going.
it. I love it.
I'm hypersensitive to those kind of indicators, right?
Yep.
So I found the people that I wanted to reach out to. There's different collectives, crews, parties, promoters, venues. Everybody, and these people didn't know me, by the way, either. I've never been to Austin.
Yeah.
Everyone that I reached out to said yes
Mm.
about getting booked to play.
Wow.
And I was like, if that's not a sign from the universe,
Yeah.
I don't know what is, man.
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it changed my life. It changed my life completely because there was a few different groups that I reached out to. One is this super dope, shout out to Peligrosa. There's this super dope collective named Peligrosa, and it's like a collective of DJs, producers, artists, and it's also a party.
That sounds
And-
dangerous.
It's dangerous. It's very dangerous. And they've been around. Basically, they've thrown a monthly party in Austin since 2007.
Dang.
And so they're like a staple in Austin. Like if you go anywhere in Austin and you bring up the name Peligrosa, people are going to know what that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the groups that I reached out to. And my elevator pitch was, I told him who I was. My cousin Vinny. I'm a DJ producer. I'm a Latino. It's also like a Latino kind of like vibe. So I told him my story. I already had all my videos on YouTube of like past gigs, promo videos, my social media, my music, because I produce music. So like I gave him the whole package, my press kit, and everybody was just like, all right, cool, yeah.
Man, just showing love right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Huh?
That one of the big ones, I remember it was this Southwest Invasion. It was like this festival that was on the rooftop of a Whole Foods headquarters in Austin.
That's great.
That's dope.
That's great.
You know that big one? Is it Lazar? What's that street? You know what street I'm talking
Lamar?
about? Lamar Street?
Yep.
That big ass Whole Foods headquarters, HQ.
Dang.
It's literally like a huge Whole Foods market.
Well, pretty much everything in Austin is rooftop. It's rooftop city.
They did a 3-day music festival on the rooftop.
On the roof.
That's wild.
And I was the DJ for the whole festival.
Oh my goodness.
That was another one of the entities that was like, yes.
So
Like, it was crazy.
You're going back this year?
I'm going back.
How many years in a row you been out there?
So 2024 will be year 6, the
That's
6th
incredible.
You
That's
always
incredible.
And you always take homies with you, or you go up there solo? What's that look like?
So the first year I went by myself. I didn't know anybody there.
Damn.
I just rolled up and I was like, yo, I staked my claim in Austin. And
He said, I'm never leaving. I'm
Yeah.
back. Yeah, let's go.
and I do like 2018. It's like every year after that, like a different group of friends I would convince them to go with me because I was like, I'm not selling you on anything. Like this is, trust me, this is crazy. And everybody that's ever came, like each year following, they're like, oh my God, like they understand.
Man.
Like it's that big, man. Like it's nothing like anything like.
So that the year that I know that Christian went, we talked about the Philharmonic.
Mhm.
Shout out to Christian.
What's
I
up,
mean, man,
Christian,
he's
man?
one of my favorite artists.
Shout
to-
out Philharmonic, Christian.
to ever come out of Sacramento. My guy's in
He's
the
a genius.
gym. My guy's in the gym daily. He is a genius, man. Like we had him on the podcast, but he's performed at a couple parties that I've thrown, and the guy's he's remarkable. But did you guys ever link up when you guys were down there? Or?
That's a great question. And we did. It was so just to give you a little trajectory, 2017, I was by myself. 2018, I had like 1 or 2 homies with me. 2019, I went again. Then the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
Pandemic just keeps coming up.
Oh,
matter,
yeah.
like, no matter what story's being told,
No doubt.
it has some type of
No
play in the equation, right?
Mm-hmm.
2020, man, it got canceled. South by Southwest was canceled.
I'm sure.
2020,
I guess Texas, I could have, I wondered if it was. It really did, though.
Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy because I had a big show in LA which is be a separate story, the artist that I was going to tell you about, my February show. It's kind of like a reckoning, but like the show we were supposed to have in 2020 in Los Angeles got canceled. And that was literally the week that the lockdown happened. Then after that show, I was supposed to go to South by Southwest. Then I find out South by Southwest got canceled.
Then you knew it was real.
And I was like, what is going on?
The world crumbled at that
It crumbled.
time, man.
It crumbled.
Like, it was crazy. I remember, I was by a softball field at the time when games started getting canceled and everything, and it just wasn't the same again for
I don't know why, but man,
God.
COVID was a good 2 years for me.
At least 2 years.
Interest rates were good. That's why.
Man, business was good. All we did was golf. I feel bad for people that were really affected by COVID. I sound like a selfish asshole, but
You do.
I kind of
Well,
enjoyed.
he was doing good. You were doing good. So
Look, it was. I had my Midtown property. I had tenants that I was friends with. We had barbecues and we made the best out of it. You and I golfed all the time, and
Yeah, we didn't really listen to the rules, did we?
we did not. No.
Oh man, but I mean, all the big social stuff was done, man. people in the service industry done. Like
Yeah.
it just was crazy. It was carnage. As much fun as we had, it was still one of the most frustrating times. Just what was going on. Still, in my
Right.
opinion.
Isn't it so crazy how some businesses were thriving?
Yeah. Well, it was the
Depending on what the
businesses that didn't have to
industry
be around people. I mean, that's
Yeah.
really what it was. You had to make adjustments. When you see people start to take to social media and start to do stuff remotely, and
Yeah.
you get these concerts going on Instagram in 2 different places and everything like that, the verses,
Right.
stuff like that. It was cool to see the innovation that happened,
Mm-hmm.
but man, that was few and far between. The masses was not
Yeah,
able to do it.
bars, restaurants, and entertainment.
Yeah.
They got hit the hardest.
Yeah.
for sure.
No doubt, no
Yeah.
doubt.
It was crazy. I mean, my dad, he's self-employed. He has his own business doing mobile audio, car stereos out in
Gotcha.
Vacaville.
Yeah,
He was one of the lucky ones where business went.
really, man. Mobile audio. Wow.
It got to the point. He
Crazy.
got so crazy to the point where this is in the height of COVID.
Uh-huh.
He followed all protocols, didn't do anything illegal.
Yeah.
Doing appointments only. People had to have an appointment just to walk into the store because of the
Of course.
the social distancing
Yeah.
and all that stuff with the masks,
Yeah.
mask mandate, all that stuff. So with appointments, like he had appointments booked out weeks and weeks and weeks of people coming through, spending God knows how much money
Yeah.
on their car stereos. Because he only does custom fabrication, customs.
Man.
Like people
Oh.
spending 50, 60 grand on their car stereo.
Damn.
Just on the car audio.
Holy.
And this guy's booked out weeks. Like,
Man.
and guess what? After COVID's not over, but for the most part over,
Uh-huh.
he's still doing appointments only, and it's going.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Like,
Oh yeah. People pivoted and never
it changed
never
the
went
whole
back.
game for business, man. It's
Yeah.
wild. It's
what,
wild.
What was your first car?
My first car, a 70 Monte Carlo.
Oh
a
my
Goose.
gosh.
Ooh.
Shout out Audio Experts Vacaville.
Yeah,
That's the
let's
name
go.
of my, that's the
I
name of my
like
dad's
that.
shop.
I like
Yeah.
that. Shoot, I would have wanted to see him. I wouldn't go spend those 60 grand though.
Rene,
Yeah. If you ever need some car audio done, this guy's world
Let's
renowned.
go.
little backstory on Rene. I always joke with him because there's like a 2-part story to this. But he grew up in Oakland, off of High Street.
Oh shit.
One of my favorite rappers of all time, The Grouch, also was from High Street, which is wild. But it's 70 Monte Carlo. This makes a lot of sense because when my mom first met Rene, she thought that he was Mexican.
Oh yeah.
That was the running joke. But
I've
he's-
What are you, by the way?
I'm half black, half white. So
You look Latino though.
Hey, bro.
I
you
mean,
look like
you should
Dominican
see
or like
my,
Puerto
my-
Rican.
My
or
girlfriend
like,
from high school was Puerto Rican, so I was always called Puerto Rican through high school. So
you got the haircut too. You got,
I'm telling you,
you
though,
look like
it
you're
ain't
from
the
New York,
first
bro.
time
You
I've
look
been
like
called
a
that.
New York.
he used to have that light mustache though. That
oh
little,
man,
No
little
way.
mustache. and-
I needed the facial hair. I wasn't getting rid of it. I'm
so
sorry.
in the
It's
Monte
ugly
Carlo,
now.
I'm gonna just take a
Yeah.
wild guess
Uh-huh.
that you had some subwoofers in that thing.
410 kickers, baby.
410
410 kickers, baby. Yeah, I had it. I had a effed up front seat, man. I had to, it was ripped all kind of ways. Finally got that replaced. Finally got a wood grain steering wheel.
Okay.
Finally took it to Miracles and got it midnight blue, like little by little.
Yeah.
I love that car,
was
baby.
that mandatory if you were in Oakland at that time
Mhm.
and you had a whip? Was it mandatory that you had kickers and a wood grain wheel? Was that mandatory?
Wood grain was pretty So check it. My wood grain, I had the one where you put the key in to take the whole wood grain off. So we would go to people's house and I'd just leave with the steering wheel. You wasn't stealing my shit.
Damn.
Just saying. That's what I had. So
Can you imagine right now if you still had that and you did that? That would be absolutely amazing.
I don't know why it still doesn't exist. Why would you ever steal a car if the steering wheel ain't there?
I just want to see you come into a restaurant with the steering wheel.
You know what's
I used to
funny?
do
What's
it.
funny about that is, I'm almost positive. I'm gonna have to fact check this, but I'd put my money on this fact right now. My dad's first car that he bought, because he's from like the lowrider era.
Yes. Yes.
His first car was a Monte Carlo, and it was
See,
a lowrider. And instead of the wood grain, this is gonna tell you the generation he came from.
Mm-hmm.
the little chain,
Oh, yes.
steering wheel that's like 8 inches, not the full 12-inch diameter.
Oh man,
He was rocking the
Oh,
low riders,
let's
cruising on Franklin
go.
Boulevard, cruising through William Land Park on Broadway. Like,
let's
he
go.
comes from that era, bro.
I
Like,
will say
that's
the car,
so funny.
the car culture. I mean,
Yeah.
Chris, the cool part about this show, man, Chris continues to find more and more stuff about me that he doesn't know, man.
Yeah.
The car culture was real, man. I was a Lowrider magazine, subscribed to it, was
Yeah.
always looking at it. The shows I was at, me and my boys deep, like I loved that shit.
You didn't
It's
know
a lifestyle.
You didn't know.
just
You
loved
don't.
it.
You didn't know this,
Lifestyle.
but I talked to Nate, and we're gonna have some B-roll of a couple pictures of you that are gonna be popping up around this
that's
around this
amazing.
time because
Oh,
so
boy.
they didn't call him Rene back then. They called him Nene, right?
Oh, is your street name?
was just-
I don't know if you consider that a street name, but
Ray Young, if you're listening to this, Ray Young, if you're listening to this, I will no longer be referring to him as Rene.
no, but you have to say it like him. Name.
That's
but-
awesome.
But yeah, just going back to what we were talking about there, though,
Yeah.
man. Like, I mean, the cars meant so much and everything, and it was part of the culture, man. I mean,
It was.
Yeah.
And the cool part about growing up in Oakland is we were around a lot of different cultures too. So, you know, I was even though we were all about basketball,
Mm-hmm.
roll with all like every group I used to roll with. My best friends were Mexicans. Morning having menudo, all that stuff, you know,
Right.
and so that was part of it. You know, my best friend Nate growing up, he was a mix of everything. It was the one that Ray was talking about. He was Filipino. He was actually a mix of everything, you know. So like we didn't fit into one. We were with everybody, and that's
Yeah.
why when I'm hearing you talk about in your music and everything, you're pulling from all over the place. You know, you have your roots. You dig into those. You implement them everywhere, but you're pulling from everywhere to get this sound that's crazy, right? And
Yeah.
that's what I'm hearing from you, right?
Yeah. That's exactly what you're hearing, man.
I want to
It's,
transition into that. So I asked you, and you kind of talked about it. And I would love to have you give the plug right now. You have a special event coming up at Harlow's, but
Yeah.
Um,
We can get to that.
yeah. But the music that you're passionate about, I would imagine a lot of it has to do with your culture. Yeah.
It's a big part of it. It's a big part of it, man. I think it's crazy, man. I feel like there's just there's a lot of ways you can go as an artist. You know, there's some artists that they're like not one trick ponies. That's a negative connotation, but maybe they're more singular or more tunnel. Like
Mhm.
they're known for the one sound or the one thing, and they just own it, right?
Yep.
And that's dope. You know what I'm saying? Like that's cool. But I don't see myself in that
Yeah.
space because there's too many things I've been influenced by, too many sounds that I grew up on and that I've been exposed to, that I would be doing a disservice to myself if I was only a house DJ.
Yeah.
Like house is a big part. Like I play house music, but I don't want to be known as just a house DJ. I don't do just house music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think prior to me going to, I would say around like 2013, I started like discovering like the cumbia stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't cumbia music like the old stuff from like the 60s and the 70s when cumbia first started
Yeah.
like coming out, you know?
Yeah.
I was digging on the internet. This is kind of like the whole Peligrosa crew I was telling you about. I was discovering these artists that were like taking cumbia and they were like remixing it.
Mm.
So they were sampling cumbia records, but then they were adding the 808s of the current time,
Yeah.
the synthesizers of the current time, and making it like trap or EDM or
Yeah.
just like something that you would hear in a club and it would slap today, right? And that's back in 2013, around that time. So I was like, whoa, I just started digging. I was like finding all this stuff. And I was like, I've always wanted to represent my culture somehow.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like around that time, I was like, oh, you know what? I think I could do that through music.
Mm-hmm.
So I started finding stuff, playing it in my sets, throwing parties around 2013. But at that time, nobody cared. everybody thought it was weird. They thought you're like, literally, people would just be like laughing at me, or they'd be like, "Why are you playing this Mexican music?" People that didn't understand, they were like, "What's up with this Mexican music? Why are you playing all this Mexican music?" And I was like, "They don't get it yet."
Yeah.
But I didn't stop doing what I was doing though, right? So then I started going to Texas, right? And so that first year I went to South by Southwest. I didn't tell you this part. I also went to Miami.
Tell me about Miami, one of my favorite places in the world. Tell me about that
Do you know about the Winter Music Conference?
No, I don't.
WMC? Do you know about Ultra Music Festival?
No, I think Miami's weird as hell.
I love it. I love it. You love weird shit. What you mean?
I do.
It's a different world over there.
It
That's
is.
for sure.
It is.
So at the time, Ultra Music Festival is like EDC, you know, like
Got it.
Electric Daisy
Gotcha.
Carnival.
Mhm.
But it's like Miami. Ultra Music Festival.
Sounds incredible.
Anyway, so Ultra Music Festival, the way it works out is this. South by Southwest is like a certain week in March. The way it's timed out, the next week is the week of Ultra Music Festival in Miami.
So y'all just rolling straight from South by Southwest out to Miami next. Oh man, that sounds like a good stretch.
So that first year by myself, I did South by Southwest and then went straight to Miami for a whole week of parties and networking.
On.
Like it
You
was.
you were in bed at 10 o'clock every night.
I was starting my day at 10
exactly.
o'clock at night.
That's great.
Yeah, man. And so I was just exposed to other music, and I was like, okay, there's something going on with Latin music, electronic music, cumbia, like all reggaeton, like all these other elements. And I was like a sponge. I'm like, okay, I'm going to parties. I'm like soaking in this music. I'm like, that's dope. Okay, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. And literally, it's like you get exposed to culture, and you're like, this is it. Like, okay, ball it all up, come back home to Sac, and I'm like, my whole DJ set format, everything like how I was doing things started evolving.
See,
and
we have, I would say not to cut you off, but I feel like that is something for the last 3 guests we've had on this podcast. That's like the simile right there, bro, is that when you get outside of your own city and you travel and you leave your comfort zone, that's where the good stuff starts. That's the secret sauce right there.
Yeah.
And then you get to bring it back home with you.
Right.
And put your own flavor on it,
Yeah.
man. How was it received when you got back and you changed your sets up and everything like that? How was it received?
So when I got back and started doing that, that's when Mike Diamond and I started doing Golden Bear, the back bar. We were the first ever DJs to start DJing in the back bar. They never had anything in the back.
I mean, not
It
that
was
I've
only
been
in the
anytime
front.
recently, but yeah,
It'd be like Crook One, you know what I'm saying? Like the OGs, like doing hip hop stuff or whatever. We were the first ones to do it in the back, and we started this whole just weekly party, and I was throwing all of that stuff in the mix, and it turned into a thing.
Damn.
It turned into a thing where like all these Latinos would start coming up to me, and they'd be like, hey, you're going to play cumbia tonight, right?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Like the stuff that people would laugh at me about.
Yes.
Like
exactly.
fast forward like 5, 6, 7 years. And now there's the cumbia scene, like they're loving it.
Man.
Like the Latin music out here, the whole spectrum changed because I was exposing all these people to new stuff they've never heard before.
People needed that from you, right? You brought it to them, and they don't hear that other places from here, right?
Nope.
That's dope.
Nope.
See, and he's so right when he's talking about, bringing it from other places, putting your spin on it, and bringing it out. So, man, I commend you for that. That is super clean to do it. And then what did that develop to, man?
Well, I mean, it developed also into like the music production.
Yeah.
And so I was always producing too. And so when I would go to Texas and go to Miami, I would meet other artists, you know?
Yeah.
And Latin artists specifically,
Mhm.
you know, that, and it really made me appreciate the other parts of like making a song.
Yeah.
Like, man, like I'm focused on making music, production, but like when you meet an amazing vocalist
Mhm.
that's a great performer and that's just their thing, like that's
Yeah.
what they do,
Yeah.
it's a newfound respect for an art. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I met this Colombian rapper I met in the first year I went out to Texas, and we played at the same party, and it was Peligrosa
Oh
in
man.
2017, and his name was Jefferson D. Lion. And he performed that the same night I did.
Uh-huh.
And I saw him on stage, and I saw his energy and his vocals and his delivery and everything, and he was performing his own music.
Mhm.
And as soon as he got off the stage, I was like, yo, this is who I am. Nice to meet you, bro. I want to work with you.
Yeah.
Exchange contacts, and we're still working together to this day.
Man.
Like, because you meet other people, you're good at what you do, right, Chris? You're good at what you do.
Yes.
When you meet somebody else and you see how good they are at what they do, and there's that respect, and there's that like, there's a reason why you're partners, but in different lanes.
Yep.
It's the same thing when I meet a vocalist or a performer or an artist where I'm like, damn, you're really good at what you do.
Mm.
I want to work with you, and I don't have to tell you what to do. You just do you and I do me. We put it together. We have a song.
Let's go. Now,
So it's simple when you break it down,
yeah.
but it's all about you hear it, you feel it, and you know it, and you're like, oh man, this is the real deal.
That is dope. Now, you're a man of many talents and you can do so much of this process. What's your favorite, man?
Favorite what?
Like, I mean, is it producing? Is it the DJing? Like, I mean, you can do all these different portions of it. Do you love the collaboration stuff? What would you put as your favorite part of it?
Man, that's hard to say.
Yeah.
It's hard to say because I love it all.
I know. Yeah, I'm not gonna say that you don't.
It's hard to
you
pick a
dislike
favorite,
it, but
yeah.
man,
I mean, I think if I had to pick, it would be DJing over producing. I love to produce. I love making collaborations and working with artists, and that's cool. I love it. But DJing is different because it's you're physically present, and you're like, when you're DJing to a crowd and you're rocking a party, and it's like, I'm all about energy, man. Energy kind of navigates my life and where I put time into things and how I pivot and do other stuff or whatever. Like, and with DJing, I think the biggest thing that has drawn me to it is it's an energy exchange between the people and you, right?
Yeah.
So like, I'll play a song, and I'm like literally feeling the crowd. Like, how are they reacting to this right now? That gives me feedback, right? So I take that feedback. It's a feedback loop. They're giving me feedback, and that's going to influence what I play next.
Love it.
Then I play what's next, right? And then I get the reaction. And if the energy goes up, I go up. If it goes down, I'm like, and I'm adjusting the whole night. I'm like, okay, it's a feedback.
Yep.
It's a exchange of energy, man. And like feeling that in the moment for a 3 or 4 hour set, you know, when you're rocking a club or a bar or whatever, or a festival, it's addicting, man. I'm like,
Man.
because you're getting like, and you play sports. So it's like when you're playing sports and the crowd is going,
No doubt.
that's the same feeling I feel, bro.
I'm with you. Oh,
It's a high that's unreal, right?
it is.
Yeah.
It is. You're chasing it all the time,
yeah.
man. Once you get there,
Once you get it, it's like you don't ever want it to end, right?
oof, no doubt, man.
We mentioned Brasswood earlier because we have our friends at Brasswood Winery, and 2 years ago, what was actually almost about a year and a half ago, we went to the Blue Note Jazz Festival,
Oh, nice.
where majority of it's hip hop, but one of the headliners there was Shaka Khan, and Shaka Khan just
What?
absolutely murdered it.
Yo.
But they had an
Great.
after party, and the after party was at Brasswood. You cannot make this up. We get there. I was with a couple friends and my lady, and Angelina Mondavi, who we mentioned, who's the
Right.
winemaker, shows up to the after party, and she's telling us, yeah, I picked some guy up that I apparently was on the road walking, and he flagged me down asking for a ride. That was Madlib. She picked up Madlib. Had no clue who Madlib was. I'm like, do you
What?
understand who was in your vehicle?
Wow.
Well, later that night, the DJ for the after party was DJ Jazzy Jeff. And I cannot explain to you.
Dave Chappelle was hosting.
Dave Chappelle was the host.
This is all.
Oh, that was that year? I saw that online.
This was a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
DJ Jazzy Jeff was smoking weed. I was like, I have been to Brasswood so many times, but I have never been in an environment like this. So I rolled a joint. I was smoking some weed at Brasswood, and it felt so amazing. And what transpired, that energy, right?
Yeah.
In the feedback, I've never experienced anything like it. It was just like iconic DJ, iconic music. So
yeah,
to your point, man, I can only imagine what that feels like when you have some crowd control, and it's got to be amazing.
I'm hooked, man. I love it.
It's awesome.
I love it. And it all comes down to like, I like seeing, like, I don't know what it is, man, but like my thing in life is I like seeing people. I get off to seeing people having a good time.
Yep.
I love seeing people. Life is hard. Life is hard for some people. We all struggle in different areas, man, whether it's internal, external, like everybody's going through something, man. And if I could help people make them kind of forget about their problems for a little bit and just have a good time in the moment and just like, man, like being an avid music fan all these years, I just understand how powerful music is.
It is.
And how it takes people back and so emotional and it like hits people in their soul. And I've done enough events to know how powerful that is and to be able to like provide that for people in a way that makes them dance and have fun and like just have a good time, bro. Like at the highest level, that's what I'm about. I love that, man. And I'm good at it.
Yeah.
So, like, when you find your gift, man, it's like, I want to keep doing that over and over and over till I die.
Yes, sir.
That's my contribution to the world.
Let's go.
Because I know that I'm good at it. So, like, let's keep doing this and see how far I could take it. Like,
I love it.
You know what I mean?
I love it. And that will lead right into it. I mean, we're in the legacy lounge. We're talking about what legacy you might leave, What do you see in the future of where this is going to take you and the legacy that you get to leave with the gift that you have?
Man, I think
in the future. Give me some in the future, man.
Yeah, the future is, I think I'm just about, I've kind of learned over time. You ever just like learn about yourself and you kind of figure out like, man, like an athlete is sometimes just innately athletic and they're innately just good at being an athlete, right? You could practice, you can train, that makes you better. But there are certain things I think that make you innately better than the next athlete. And there are things that are intrinsic. Maybe it's something you're born with, genetics, it could be anything.
Yep.
I think the same thing applies to like creative people, artists, DJs, musicians, and the like.
100% agree with you.
And so one thing that I feel that is intrinsic with myself is like I'm good at like bringing people together. You know what I'm saying? And I like doing that. I like just like spreading light. You know what I'm saying? There's like that quote about like, a candle, when a candle lights another candle, it doesn't diminish the flame.
That's right.
And so I kind of like live my life by that. Like,
love it.
I'm here to spread light, spread positive energy, good vibes, and bring people together through what I feel like I'm good at, which is music, DJing, and events, and like literally bringing people together. Spreading love, man. Like,
that's right.
I'm here for a good time, not for a long time. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of like my ethos, man, is like, and I feel like I'm good at it. And so I'm just running with it. I love it. At the highest level, that's why I'm here.
I love
on
it.
this podcast. That's my legacy.
Let's go.
That's my legacy that I'm
Let's
trying
go.
to leave, man.
So that's a good segue because now I want to hear more about the event that you got coming up.
Because
at
you're bringing some
Harlow's.
people together at Harlow's, from what I understand.
Yeah, man.
Tell me about it.
So February 9th at Harlow's, to kind of tie in the whole cumbia music,
Yeah.
there's a band, a group from the Bay Area, and it's a collective. They're known as Discos Resaca.
Mm-hmm.
The Discos Resaca collective, it's live musicians, right? But they consist of individual artists.
Mm-hmm.
So Discos Resaca consists of these three sisters from Oakland. San Jose. The Mariposas del Alma.
Okay.
That's their name, Flowers of the Soul.
Yeah.
Three sisters, amazing singers. You have, are you familiar with Deucey Clips?
Damn, that sounds so familiar, but no.
So Deucey Clips from Oakland.
Mm.
He's a rapper, hip hop artist, Latin singer. He's also part of Zion I. Maybe you know
Oh
him
my
from
goodness gracious! Yeah. Is he
Yeah.
tall?
that. Not
not,
taller
okay.
than me. He's probably a little shorter than me.
Okay.
But he rocks with Zion I. You probably know him. You probably know him too if you're from Oakland.
Yeah.
Deucey Clips.
Okay.
The other, yeah, okay. And then my boy Ivan. My boy Ivan's the band leader. So they're all based out of Oakland, Bay Area, San Francisco, San Jose. They make original cumbia music, like musicians, singers, like they're the real deal. They're the headliner. Now, we're having another DJ from LA, DJ Sizzle Fantastic. She's dope. She rocks a crew in LA called Cumbiaton. And then we have the local support, which is me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be one of the DJs opening up. But then also there's a local cumbia band from Sacramento.
Mm.
Have you heard of Sol Peligro?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Okay. Sol Peligro is they just celebrated their 18th anniversary
Oh,
Damn.
wow.
as a band here in Sacramento.
Wow.
And here's what makes them special. Most of the Latin bands out here are cover bands.
Mm.
No original music.
Yeah.
They're just
Yeah.
playing the hits.
Yeah.
These guys do all original music.
Let's go.
They write their own music, produce their own music, and they've been around for the last 18 years. And these guys are the real deal. Like, I've been trying to have this lineup for years, and it fell through every time I tried to set it up. I finally was able to set it up with Harlow's. And so this is like the best of the best in cumbia. And it's not just cumbia songs that I'm not DJing it necessarily. These are live musicians, man.
Man, all the work that goes into it, and you've been trying to put it together, man, I'm super excited for you, man. That is finally here.
It's here.
You'll finally be able to
Yeah.
get these people together, these influential people together. Congrats, man.
Thank you.
So tickets are on sale.
Yeah, so tickets are on sale right now. If you go on Harlow's website, you can check my bio on Instagram at my_cousin_Vinny. And dude, tickets are only $20 pre-sale.
Let's go.
$25
And Harlow's
day
is
of.
by far
Yeah, I love
my
Harlow's,
favorite venue
man.
in Sacramento.
Isn't it?
100%. It's hard going to shows at Ace of Spades for me. It's just hard.
Why is that?
Well, so like if you walk into the room here, you'll see a couple pictures on our wall of one of my favorite bands of all time, which is a band from New Orleans called Galactic. And there were some horn players. My boy Wes was actually the one that took those photos. Harlow's has been a place for me where I'm 40, but I mean, I started going to shows there when I was 21.
Right.
And I've seen so many. I saw Wyclef there.
Oh, wow.
I've seen a lot of local artists, obviously, but it's just a very intimate venue,
yeah.
right? It's not boxy. It's just the sound's good. Another artist that is from Sacramento that's pretty big now, Tycho.
Yeah.
We went and saw Tycho. We had a big group, saw Tycho
dope.
not too long ago. I just feel like it's just a more intimate venue. And I've been to some shows at Ace of Spades, and it just feels like I'm always sardine cans.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of sometimes the all ages stuff. I'm just becoming an old man.
Yeah,
That's all it is to it.
Get
You
off
know,
my lawn.
Harlow's. You know, sometimes you want that just that vibe. You can sit in the nice velvet couches.
Yeah.
And just keep it player, and it's just nice.
It is. It is. And it sounds good.
That's my
like
thing.
acoustically, like
Acoustically, it's
yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Harlow's, man,
Let's
because
go.
they have their sound guy John is amazing, man. Like I've played many shows there, and I still play shows there, and you know we have a really good relationship, and so it kind of honestly it was a blessing because they came to me and they were like, "Hey," because I've been doing some shows there recently with a lot of these there's like this genre, they're calling it like Chicano soldies, where it's like these newer bands that are making music that sounds like the lowrider oldies from like the 60s, you know? Like
That sounds
stuff
dope.
like that. Like I'm Your Puppet,
Yeah.
you know, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
But it's current music though.
Oh, that's
And
great.
so I just did a show there on New Year's Eve. They brought out Joey Quinones, who's one of the biggest artists in that space for like the Chicano soul. It's like a movement, man. And so
Yeah.
I've been doing a few shows there where they've booked other bands in that space. And so they've been seeing the turnout of Latinos for these shows and how much money they make because they're buying drinks.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know what it
Oh,
is.
yeah. Oh, yeah. That's never an issue.
So they come to me and they were like, "Yo, Vinny, we're trying to like expand on this market.
And you're leading it.
Do you know?" And we know they were like, "We know you're the guy that's like tapped in with these Latin artists around here." He's like, "Do you have anybody? Like, what should we do?" And that's how
great.
I was like, "Oh, I got something for you."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Okay."
Oh, that's great.
So
you know when they come to you for that's a testament to what you've been doing, man.
signs from the universe.
That's
man.
right. Let's go, man.
And so it's finally happening, bro. And I'm very excited because, like, this is on record too. Camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. This is gonna change the game for Sacramento because this has never happened before. And like now, I think finally Sacramento's ready for what I've been trying to bring at this level, and it's finally happening. And so I hope you guys can make it, man.
You heard it first. It's changing the game in Sacramento, man.
February 9th
And it's
at
literally
Harlow's.
3 days before I do 75 hard.
That's how you're gonna
Perfect.
go out.
So this fits into my schedule.
So you can do a 3-day bender and then start fresh.
It's the
I
calm.
love it.
The storm before the calm is.
I love it.
That is incredible. That is incredible. Before we get into some of those questions at the end, man, like I want to go back to you producing. Tell me about what's been your favorite experience with somebody you've been working with and help producing, man. Give a little love to some of the people that you've helped produce, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, first and foremost, big shout out to Jefferson DeLion. That's my boy.
Mm-hmm.
He's from Colombia,
Yeah.
Buenaventura, Colombia. And it's just been an honor to work with him. You know, he's just super talented. And I've been blessed to be able to connect with a lot of talented artists, man.
Yeah.
I mean, shout out to my boy Nuri Dog. He's another one that I met at South by Southwest who I've worked with. He's from Monterrey, Mexico, and which is also big in the cumbia scene.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, thank you, man.
Make sure you tip the waiter.
Yeah. The artist I mentioned for the show on February 9th, Discos Resaca. I got some stuff, working on stuff with them. The Mariposas del Alma, I'm working on stuff with them. Deuce Eclipse, working on stuff with him.
Oh, keep it.
These are all the artists that are at the show. So Peligro, who are from SAC, I'm working on some stuff with them. We have all these tracks right now that we're literally finishing up. And so I've just been blessed to be able to work with these people.
I love it.
Like it's you know, I watch a lot of like producer documentaries and music documentaries and stuff, and I love the collaborative aspect of it because like I see people like Quincy Jones, where it's like
man.
I just watched, for example, I just watched that Thriller 40 documentary on Showtime.
Yes.
And it's like when you take the greats and they're all working with whoever they're working with is the best at what they do. And I finally feel like I'm able to be at a point where the people that I'm collaborating with, they're the best at what they do. You know what I'm saying?
Dope.
Or maybe not the best because the best is subjective.
Of course.
But they're great at what they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm just learning from people. Like I'm always learning, man. Like I'm just
Always.
you know, I don't consider myself to be the best or anything. Like I just love music. I love DJing. I love creativity, collaborating, like, and just making cool stuff, man.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to experiment and I'm just having fun with it.
Yeah.
Like
I love that. What's the biggest hurdle in your career right now?
the biggest hurdle?
Yeah.
Man.
I would
say
to get in there.
Yeah, you've been on. You said you've been on some shows and stuff, but you've never been on a show like this that asks the questions that we ask. I mean,
That's a deep one. I've never been asked that question
what's the
before.
hurdle?
I
hurdles,
had a
man.
talk with Rene. I was like, "Yo, let's hit him with that real
I need
shit."
I need to have a drink real quick.
Hey,
Yeah.
listen, he didn't tell me nothing for one.
I think the biggest hurdle is, and something I'm working on too, is not overthinking my decisions.
I like that because I keyed on how much of a perfectionist you are. You know, I fall into that category,
Right.
and I've had to work hard to overcome it because we get to where we're trying to go faster if we stopping ourselves.
That's the ding, 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 ding.
Let's
Right
go.
there. What you just said, that's it. Because
we get in our own way.
yeah, when it, and I don't know how it's a learning experience, right? But when we finally dropped, when Weston and I, Vato Trampa, when we finally dropped Brown and Down, I mean, dude, 3 years, 5 tracks. We weren't making an album.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's 5 tracks,
Yeah.
right? The holdup was me because I was overthinking every single step. I was like neurotic.
Yeah.
And he helped me learn that. Like, and it literally was like a revelation when we dropped it. And I was like, you know what? Hey, never again.
Yeah.
Trust the decision. Trust that I know what I'm doing. In that,
Trust your creativeness,
Right.
man. You're a genius in your space.
I don't know about all that.
Trust. Hey, listen, man. You're hearing stuff. You're putting stuff out.
Yeah.
That is different. You're pulling from all kind of places. Trust your vision.
Yeah,
you
like-
know.
Imagine all of the missed opportunities that you would have by just not putting it out there. And what
Right.
it makes me think of as he's saying this was the stories we had yesterday from Kim, right?
That's right.
She's the baddest artist in Sacramento,
Like literal artist. Like
hands down. She does a lot of resin art, which is this
nice.
next level.
Okay.
But she was telling part of her lineage story of when she was doing art. She went to do her master's in Texas, and she was just putting in the work. Right.
Right.
That was the thing. She was putting in the work, and
Right.
as I'm hearing your story, I feel it's like the same, man. It's like, just put it out there. You know, it's got to start first from a love of just creation of what you're creating, right?
Right.
It's just the byproduct is when people get down with what you've created. You
Right.
know what I mean? You put out 5, 6, 7, 8 songs, not getting caught up in every last song and what everyone's gonna like. But the thought of just keep on putting it out there, you know?
Yeah. And I think that's the revelation that I came to was like, man, like no more, like it was a streak. Like all of 2023 was a streak where like I had like Brown and Down, and maybe like 6 other songs, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what's crazy. And this is what's kind of like people kind of had to beat it into my brain. These songs were done. Like they were ready to go for like 1-2 years.
Mm.
And I would show them to people, show them to friends, show them to like other artists, right? And everybody would be like, dude, why is this not out?
Yeah.
They were like, yo, this is fire. What are you doing? Drop it. Like, why are you not putting these out? And it finally just clicked. And once I started putting it out, I got rid of all the songs that I was sitting on because I was like, all right. And so now 2024, I'm like, clean slate. All right.
How does it feel once you did it, man? Did you
It
feel
felt amazing.
See?
It felt amazing.
There you go. That's what we're talking about, man.
And I was, like you said, Chris, I was getting in my own way.
Yeah.
And when I finally, like, when the light bulb went off, I was like, man, I am never doing this again.
Yeah. Yeah. I do. Again, I'm only speaking from experience. When you have a gift and you overthink it, you know, it's one of those things where the maturity comes when you start to know that you're good with what you're creating. You know, it's really what it is. And
You had to experience that when you wrote your book. I guarantee.
Oh man.
Oh, you wrote a book?
Yeah, I wrote a book, man. It's called
Tell me about it.
It's called The Athlete's Advantage in Business. My business coach, it was probably in 2018, told me my next step in the career was to create a book. My first reaction was, write a book? I don't even like to read. What you mean, write a book? So with that being said, I thought on it for a while. I was actually out with Daniel Quinton going to, we were on a flight going to Mike Ochoa's bachelor party. And I told him, man, listen, if I got to write a book, it has to be about things that I'm passionate about.
Right.
I'm obviously a sports fanatic.
Right.
And business, I'm just dialed in on becoming the best business person that I can be.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was the one who came up with the title, the Athlete's Advantage in Business.
Who was?
Daniel Quinton.
I never knew that.
You
That's
didn't know
wild.
that,
I'm
did you?
surprised.
So, it was
I'm
one
just
of
kidding,
those
Daniel.
things where it was a great start. You get outside of your comfort zone, but you just grind. I was grinding. It came out during COVID, so leading up to COVID, rates were getting better. I was working so much during the day.
Mm-hmm.
I would literally get on there to read and proofread what the book said at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning for an hour here, an hour there, like just to get through it. It was crazy. And for somebody that, like, I should be the last person to put out a book. Last person. I got some good ideas, but at the same time, writing a book, I had to trust and get it out. Is it perfect? Hell no. Am I extremely happy that I did it? Hell yeah.
Right.
Am I going to be better if I try this again? You better believe it.
Right.
So, I mean, it's one of those things that you just had to trust, get it out, get those things on the wall, and that's how you progress. And again, speaking from experience on all that stuff, man, getting better as I age of not overthinking is really what it is. So
it's real.
It's real.
It's so real.
Crazy.
It's so real.
Man, so yeah, I can't believe we're
kudos to you, man. That's amazing.
Hey,
that's amazing.
Amazon bestseller in U.S. and Canada, so I'm international bestseller. So hey.
So what does that tell you?
Hey,
that means you did something right.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. Like, I second guessed it every step of the way.
Right.
It's crazy, right?
Right.
The thing that gives me the biggest, like my biggest fear in life, is being on my deathbed, knowing that I had all these dreams and all these ideas that I left unexecuted. You know what I mean? Even this podcast right here, man. This was just some thoughts that compounded after him and I started getting together and listening to your story and your journey, bro. It's just like we all have a craft. We all have these ideas and these visions. Mm-hmm. It's about just turning them into reality and getting out of our own way.
Right.
And I hear your story, man. I get motivated when I hear the trials, tribulations, when you get to travel. Based on everything we've been hearing, I need to travel more so I can get outside of my comfort zone again. It sounds like that's the magic sauce of what it is. But, you're right on the edge of taking the next step because this got this big event that you've been thinking about finally coming to fruition.
Right.
And then once this happens and you show Sacramento what this really is, the
Right.
sky's the limit after that, man. I'm curious what the next step is going to be when you crush it on the 7th of February, man. What you
9th.
think? Man,
Yeah.
9th, my bad.
No, it's all
9th.
good. February 9th, man. You know, it's like you talk about a vision, right? You
Yeah.
see where you're going, man, and I just know that like I think it's kind of like accepting the long game
Mhm.
and knowing that it's a long game. I'm enjoying it because for a while I wasn't enjoying it, and I was going hard in the paint.
Yeah.
But I was miserable because I felt like I had to be at a certain point when I wasn't. So that's also part of the learning process for me, was like being like, hey, man, now you're doing it. You're doing it. You're already doing it. I'm already doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I just got to keep doing it
Yeah.
and enjoy it. You know, what's the point of working so hard and trying to make these moves and spending this time if you're not enjoying it?
No doubt.
Because then it's just a regular job at that point.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I feel it. I feel it.
I'm going to do
love
this
it.
forever. So now that I know I'm doing this forever, I can enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter where I'm at right now. I know I'm going to get there.
It
just
doesn't,
takes
man.
time, man.
Man, we put the pressure on because we see our competition and people around us, and people reach the next level at a different time.
Right.
It doesn't matter, man. I've seen people well past what we thought would be the right time frame
Right.
hit it big. When it's all about that time, what efforts you put behind it, and the right opportunity is going to be there. Are you going to be sharp enough in the right mindset that when the right opportunity pulls itself together,
Right.
are you going to be able to take advantage of it? And being in that good space that you're talking about, that's where it's at, man. I love hearing that. I
Yeah.
love hearing that.
And it's so crazy because, you know, I appreciate hearing your guys' perspective.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was never really an athlete. I didn't do that
Mhm.
part of life. I was like the creative, music, arts, DJing.
I don't think athleticism is much different from that. It's all creativeness. We're just in our own different way. Me playing on the court was my form of creation.
Right.
So, you know, I don't think it's that
No,
different.
you sound philosophical as hell.
Woo!
Well,
I don't
you
know about all that. I'm
You
just saying.
started where I
No.
want to go.
Hey,
You just started.
No. Let me just
You just blazed the trail right
My
now.
bad, I ain't
No,
trying
no,
to
no.
steal your
This is a
thunder.
good thing. This is a
Let
good
me
thing.
set the record straight
That
right.
means we're all on the
Let
same
me
wavelength
set-
right now. You know what I'm saying?
Let me
love
set the
it.
record
I love
straight.
it.
Okay.
All right.
There's a certain amount of coordination and rhythm that it takes and dedication
Mhm.
to be an athlete. I don't think
Okay.
it's the same as being an artist. I really don't.
See,
Now you
so-
have to
so-
get creative, but I'm telling
Wait
you,
till you
Playing
hear what I-
basketball,
wait till you hear
continuing
what I
in
have
high
to
school
No.
is a little bit different. I felt like I was a creator on the court. Yes, I did work in the background, but he was also studying in the background. He was a student of the game as well. When I
Are
was
you
on
an
the
athlete,
court,
Chris?
in my mind, I'm one of the best.
Are you an athlete like he was an athlete?
Not at that level, but
Okay.
I played my sport that I played growing up was basketball.
Okay.
And but I can tell you right now the difference between Rene and I was dedication and reps. I guarantee you. Now, in my mind, I was probably creative too, dog. But I was, I wasn't. This actually is going to tie in a little bit.
Yeah.
I,
no,
I,
I want to
love
hear.
this.
Be-
I
be-
love
I
it.
wanna hear
because-
your
be-
perspective.
because my
Yeah.
perspective, the tie-in is, at least from what I've seen and what I've observed with the best athletes, I guarantee you it's the same with the best musical artists, and it's the absolute dedication and the hours put into it, the nonstop, and it's the getting out of your own way and just that vision of I'm gonna be this person. I'm gonna be this person. I'm gonna get this thing. I can already tell you for me where my downfall was, which was it was confidence. Every time I step foot on the basketball court, this is crazy. I don't think I've ever shared this. I was hella nervous when I stepped to a free throw line. My heart was beating out of my chest.
Right.
Mine was too. I learned to love it. I was no different. Butterflies every game, nervous every game, I learned to love it.
That's
Do you
crazy.
still get nervous
We're
when you go
going,
out
man,
there?
We're about to go deep. I want to hear
Do
both
you-
of your perspectives on this because I have something to say too.
Yeah.
But finish though. I don't want to cut you off. Go
No,
ahead.
that was really it. I feel what you're saying in regards to that's where you had your creativeness. I would just say that it is the same whether you're an athlete or an artist. You know, I'll even bring up because we brought him up. You know, Weston.
Yeah.
There's very few people I know in my life that are as creative as him.
Yeah.
Right. Same thing though. Like he makes some of the best cider I've ever had in the world.
Yep.
And I'm like, is there a reason why this isn't on the shelves everywhere? And
High more, low more.
and I'll tell you, and I'll tell you,
Shout out to that low more, baby.
that Morpheus,
that Morpheus
that
cider.
Morpheus. But I'll tell you what, man, I think it is because it's like, well, I don't have it perfected yet, and I think it's a not willing to take a risk because you're scared of the outcome, right?
Yeah.
Versus like just actually just going out there and just doing it and just putting it all on the line and just doing it. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's my take.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that. And I like what you were saying. You learned you turned it into a mental thing.
Mm-hmm.
You said you had to learn how to love it even though you were scared or nervous.
I would full on say I was scared. Scared is a big motivator
Because
as well.
of the pressure.
The
right?
pressure, man.
You on the free throw line, it's all on you, right?
Hey, you learn to love those feelings. I feel it makes me feel alive now. So I think I deal with pressure better than a lot of people because I learned to love it. But it was kind of an eternal thing. We're gonna have a great guest coming on. Coach Rivers is one of the people that helped me with that. So he's coming on soon. Do you get nervous when you go out before these sets anymore? Do you love it? I mean, is it easy? What do you feel?
The feeling of you at the free throw is being a DJ.
See why
It's
I
all
see
on,
it's not
all
different?
on you. It's all on you.
You were talking about creative shit.
No,
That
I'm
is
gonna get to, I'm
creative,
gonna touch
though.
on that too. But
It is creative.
But this is what I love about this conversation is that I love hearing other people's perspectives.
Yeah.
Because you have a different life than me, and you have
No
a different
doubt.
life than me,
No
right?
doubt.
And so, just to give you my perspective, one of the things about it's crazy. It's like sports for me is kind of like a weird thing, and it was a weird thing only because I had to mature in my age to really understand it better and appreciate it better and actually respect it. And it came from not to get into too much detail, but basically when I was a kid, I played sports. I did soccer for like 4 years. I did certain sports growing up, but I remember it was like in middle school, I wanted to do flag football. So I tried out, I made the team, and I was hella excited. But I had a series of health conditions, health problems that I went through, surgeries that I had to go through,
no.
operations. Yeah. I don't want to get into too much detail, but are you familiar with like scoliosis
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff like that?
my daughter was in a brace for 3 years.
I was in a brace from 2 to 8th grade.
Oh my goodness!
it
Extra
was,
long.
Yeah.
Oh my
yeah.
goodness!
I've had like several operations. It's a long. That's a whole separate podcast. Basically, my sports career got cut short at a very, very young age because the doctors were like, "No, you're a fragile human. You cannot do sports." And so, as an adult, hindsight being 2020, I see the value of sports and how it builds confidence in a human being.
No doubt.
Well, I got robbed of that. I didn't get that, right? So when I grew up as a teenager in high school, all these pivotal developmental years as a young adult, I had a huge confidence problem like you, Chris. And I was like trying to figure it out for myself. Like,
Yeah.
how, like, I'm not like the other kids.
Yeah.
Literally, physically, emotionally, spirit, everything.
Mm.
So, like, I went through a very hard time in my young years trying to source that from something that
Yeah.
sports would have given me that, but I didn't do sports.
Yeah.
That's why music,
Music
that's
did
where
it.
the fucking music came
Mm.
along, man. Music literally
Mm.
saved my life.
Mm.
Saved my life.
It's incredible.
Man.
So your sports, and this is where I'm getting deep as an adult and as I've like
Yeah.
grown to appreciate sports and watch it now, NFL, NBA, it's like I have this newfound respect and these parallels of like, yo, like like having to discipline myself because I didn't have the discipline of working out, training
Yeah.
every day, practice every day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you're ingrained certain things, and like that, I see the value in sports for people that do sports for many years of their lives. You like, it makes you a better person. It discipline,
It
like,
It definitely does, but
Yeah.
I'll tell you one, and I'll reflect this a little bit back to you on here because one of the things I keyed on with that you said was, I said that you were a student of the game. You were in the crates. You were learning the music. You were
Right.
pulling it from everywhere. I've been around a million athletes. A bunch of them just run around and play. They like it kinda. They're kind of forced to it because they're a certain size and everything like that. They don't love it.
right.
The ones that excel love the grind and are a student of the game. They study Jordan. They study whoever. Ray was here talking about Nate McMillan. Nobody studies Nate McMillan. He did because he had a certain jumper. I hear what you're talking about. Music saved your life. You're digging in the crates. You're a student of the game. I still think there's a parallel there because we all get our motivation from somewhere.
Yeah.
And even if you like something or you're good at something, doesn't mean you're going to excel at something. When you're a student of the game is where it changes. So I'm just saying that's the way I heard it from you.
I appreciate
That's
that.
what makes you different.
I
man.
appreciate that,
So
man. Thank you.
Yep.
just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So those are like two things: putting in your reps
Yeah.
Yep.
and being a student of the game. Student of the game on the sports thing, obviously, is tapping into other sports athletes. For musicians, it's making those connections. It's looking at the people that are maybe that you aspire to be,
Right.
or that you appreciate their sound and having the risk to go out and seek those people and learn
Yeah.
from them.
And he's doing it.
Yeah.
He's
And
bringing
to-
it
and
to
to-
Sacramento.
and the
Like
free
that's
throw
what I'm
thing.
hearing. Yeah. Agreed.
Going like when I went going to South by Southwest, Miami, like I scared. I'm still scared, bro.
Yeah.
Like
Miami is intimidating.
No, it is, man. But you know what though? Like you said, you learn to love it.
Yeah.
And I'm around, and honestly, going there made me better.
Yeah.
Because now I'm around people that are big. I'm around guys that are doing it as a career, full time, no day job. You know what I mean? Like the best of the best. And so, like, you probably hear those phrases like, if you're the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong room.
That's right.
So I'm in these rooms where I feel real small, but I know I'm like, this is going to make me better. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, I know I'm good. I'm just around a lot of big guys right now that are better than me. But you know what? I'm going to get better because I'm around these people.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
Dope. Man.
Like,
If you ever feel this a little, awkwardness or intimidated, just when you're out there, just tell them that you're my cousin.
yo-
All right, Vinny?
I'll tell him that. I will tell him that. Hey, you know Chris?
saving
Yeah, you
it
know
up.
Chris, right?
And that's on the block.
Yeah.
All right, let's
great.
hit him with some questions before we wrap it up.
All right, go ahead, man.
All right. This is going to be a fun one for me, the first one.
I know. Seriously.
So we're going to two-parter. Your top 3 artists in Sacramento right now.
Ooh.
And that can be any genre. And don't overthink this, and don't be like, oh, I'm gonna left this person out.
Who comes to your
It can be DJ, singer, rapper. I want to hear your top 3
man.
Sacramento artists of any kind, any genre.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, that's a really good question. That's a strong first question.
Came out swinging. He did say Sacramento, though.
Sacramento.
It's all good.
Sacramento.
That's what you just said.
Sacramento.
It's good. Replay.
Sacramentos.
Hey, look, real quick. 1 second. This is one of the only.
Shout out to the mezcal we're drinking right now.
That's right.
This is one of the only.
We slurring words over
This
here.
is one of the only podcasts we've had where we're drinking mezcal. That's number one.
It's the first one, baby. Hey.
I'm coming
It's
off
the
of a
first one.
cold. Okay.
Oh, you gonna blame it on the cold, huh?
Mercury's in retrograde.
Man, listen here, mustache. Monte Carlo.
I love it.
It's a full moon.
Man, he gets so violent when he drinks, man.
Let me tell
Can
a
we
quick-
get back to his?
Let me tell a quick story about Rene.
boy.
No,
All
I
right,
want to
you-
hear this
when
because
we
I
were
got to
in the
think about
streets
my
together.
answer.
Oh
I gotta-
boy.
I got to think about my answer.
Go
tell
tell
your
tell the story.
What story?
You said you wanted to tell a story.
I did.
Yeah. Oh man.
I heard the same thing, but now it's back on you, man.
I'm trying to be on your level, Chris.
Oh man,
I need
Chris.
another drink. Shit.
Chris.
I said Sacramento.
It's
You
all
know,
good.
no, but then you segued into like you were going to tell us a story.
Damn it.
You heard that, right?
Oh yeah,
Renee,
I heard
you
that.
heard
I was
that,
waiting.
right?
I was like, hey, you got saved for a second. He's gonna say something.
Yeah,
it's
I
back
thought
on you. Now it's back at the top 3, baby.
Okay. All right. So this isn't any particular order.
no
just
order.
top 3. You said top 3, right?
Yep.
Philharmonic.
Mm-hmm.
That dude is a beast, man. Shout out to Christian, man.
Let's go.
Like, and we're actually in the process of working on some stuff too. I'm gonna remix some of his.
Let's
tracks.
go. Yes,
So
sir.
a little foreshadowing there.
Mm-hmm.
So Peligro, which is the band I told you about that's playing at Harlow's on February 9th because they're OGs in the game, like 18, 19 years in the game here in Sacramento, and one of the only Latin bands out here that's actually producing original music.
Mm.
That's unheard of out here.
Yeah.
Hard to believe, but it's unheard of. And the third one, man. That's really hard. I mean, can I say it myself or is that weird?
No.
I'm in for it, man.
Let's go.
Because
You're my cousin.
and when I say myself, it's adjacent with Fato Trampa.
Mm.
So I would say Brown and Down because
Brown and down.
the stuff we have in the works right now is going to be better than the stuff we put out.
Let's
I
go.
love it. It's 2-part, right?
So it's a hybrid.
Hey, it's a trip because I know Weston as just the homie. I've heard him, obviously DJ. But
Yeah.
had to pull up at one of the Flip to Beat clubs, and my mind was blown. I didn't know that they're just producing that on the fly.
Talk about that, man.
Yeah.
With the Beat Club.
That's
legit.
Yeah.
I like talk about nerves and putting your reps in. I couldn't imagine. And this dude was just like, so he was making the music, and I'm like, dude, when did you make that? He's like, I just made it on the fly. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Explain what Flip the Beat Club
I will.
is.
So shout out to Mons Rock and DiBiase because they're like the two big players that kind of like set that up.
Mhm.
And so Flip a Beat Club started in the pandemic because everything was locked down. And so it started off as like a monthly Zoom session where they basically would have all these producers on Zoom together. Somebody would pick a sample. It could be DiBiase, Mons, one of the other members. They would find a record and they would pick the sample of the record. Like, yo, this is the sample. They would fucking send it to everybody. And then everybody that was on the Zoom would get in like an hour or half an hour to take the sample, chop it up, and make a beat. And then everybody shared their beat. And it was like a workshop, right?
That's dope.
It blew up. So Weston was one of the participants, and he was telling me the updates as it was happening, and it blew up. DiBiase's involved, and so, like, I don't know if you know, but DiBiase's, like, sponsored by Serato, the DJ company Serato. So then Serato started getting involved, and then they started actually doing it at, like, 12's Wax.
Mm-hmm.
Then they were doing it in other cities. And basically these chapters started forming in other parts of the country, and they would all meet on Zoom once a month. And now it's worldwide. Now it's in
Come
Canada. It's in other countries. and it blew up, man. And have you been to one in person?
I have.
At Slim and Huskies?
No, I was at a
Freeze spot?
Roy's spot.
Oh, Roy spot. Okay.
Roy and Freeze.
Yeah, the gallery.
Shout
right?
out to Freeze.
Shout
by
out
the
to
way.
Freeze, man.
Hey,
Freeze.
Back in the day, man, that dude can rap.
He still can.
Yeah,
He's got it, man.
Adam's the guy.
Yeah. So I went to one recently, and it was at that gallery, that 25th and Jazz. And man, Vato performed. And basically, now that it's in person, they do it once a month at a venue, and they'll pick maybe 5 or 6 guys out of the group to do an actual live set. So it's not a DJ set. So the one I went to that I told you about, Weston Vato Trampa did a beat set, and he brought his sampler,
Bro.
the Roland SP404 sampler, and it's hooked up to the sound system, and he's just literally playing like a 20, 30-minute set of his beats.
Come on.
Live.
Killing it.
Come on.
Killing it.
Woo.
I've never realized how many talented producers are in Sacramento until I started going.
That's dope.
Like heat. I'm talking about heat.
Okay, so we got Sacramento. So now let's end it with your top 5. I know this is hard, but just try top 5 musical artists of all time.
Ooh, of all time?
Mm-hmm.
Man. Okay.
By the way, you got a song that's been stuck in my head since you said it.
What?
I'm your puppet.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, literally, it's just been looping in my head since you said it.
That's what he was thinking about when he said he was going to ask me something, and he just said, "I'm your puppet." He just lost it. That's what happened. We figured it out.
Oh, man. Top 5? I mean, Daft Punk, for sure, one of them.
Yes, sir.
No particular order.
Yep.
It could be any genre.
Yep.
Any
genre? Carlos Santana, for sure. Damn. Let's say El Dusty from the cumbia stuff I was telling you about.
Mhm.
He's one of the pioneers of that sound.
Remember Ozomatli?
Ozomatli is dope.
Cumbia, cumbia. Come on, let's go.
Oh,
Yeah.
man,
Renee doesn't know nothing
we
about
got
that.
him
Actually,
singing
shout out to my
here.
boy Camilo Quinones. He plays for Ozomatli.
Wow.
He's their percussion guy.
Do you know a Latin band? They're kind of like a pop band called Camila.
That sounds kind of familiar, actually.
All right, well, I'll drop game. You know?
Yeah.
I told you that I have a hard time with my identification.
Yeah.
You know, so I can go deep.
Yeah. He's a white guy with a brown heart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see it. I see it.
So where are we at? We're at
That's
Daft
4.
Punk.
That was
We're at Santana. Oh man,
That was
this is-
2, bro.
No,
It's only
that's
2.
the only 2 that you named. You just named 2 after that.
And you said top 5. Oh, El Dusty, that's 3.
Give me a hip hop and R&B.
Hip hop. Okay, this helps. This helps. Hip hop and R&B
don't know if
artists.
you-
Oh, Lighter Shade of Brown.
Let's go. I love it.
Let's
I love
jam.
That's
that.
your nickname,
Let's
bro.
jam,
Man,
Latin
hey.
active. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I'm with you.
So that's 4. 5. Oh man, this is a crazy question. You know what? Let's take it way back. We'll take it back to the fundamentals. Egyptian Lover, bro.
Man.
Damn. My
Damn,
boy's got
that's
some
a
old
good
school.
one.
in
The
him.
I like
808s,
that.
bro. The Roland TR-808
I love
drum
it.
machine, bro. Changed the game.
Top
love
top 3 restaurants in Sacramento for you.
Top 3 restaurants in Sacramento.
And this can be food trucks. This can be a restaurant. It can be anything.
Taqueria Jalisco over on 16th Street,
You
over
mean-
by this where the Salvation Army
Yo,
used to
come
be.
on, tell him.
Yeah, you mean my boy Jose, who works with me, his family restaurant?
Oh,
yeah.
That's
you
what
know
I'm
Denny
talking
Flores?
about. Huh?
You
Let's
know-
go.
The one on 16th, right?
On 6th.
Well, there's
Or
one
the
in-
West
there-
Sac
there-
one.
the
the one in West
Sac.
Sac. My bad.
Okay.
My bad. Is it my bad?
How about both of those? Because I fuck with the one
Hey,
in West Sac too.
So the one in West Sac on
the menudo
Saturday,
and pozole is
yes.
hold
on
on
point.
Saturdays and Sundays they got the old old Latina chick making
the
the
tortillas.
masa. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, I go there every Sunday, bro.
Let's go.
I don't know why Nate's laughing.
Taqueria
Nate's laughing
Jalisco.
back here.
Because there's
I'm
two.
telling you,
There's
bro.
Taqueria Jalisco in
Yes.
Wasac, and
Yeah.
then there's the one on 16th.
My bad. I mixed them up. My
No,
bad.
but they're both good.
Fire.
They're both good. And the third one, I'm biased. I'm picking Mexican restaurants, man,
I'm
Yeah.
good with this.
because these are my people.
Let's go.
El Noviero on Franklin Boulevard.
Oh my gosh.
Franklin and Fruit Ridge,
Let me
baby,
just
South
tell you,
Sac, Iraq.
do you know
Let's
about
go.
it?
No.
Okay, so my dad
No.
used to take me there, and he would get the beef burrito dinner, and that was one of my dad's favorite restaurants in Sacramento. What's the iconic grocery store over there?
La Esperanza.
Let's go, La Esperanza. You don't know this, but we had our fantasy football draft, and that's where I got all the meat and all the
Is that
tortillas
where it
from.
was? Let's go.
And then Wesson came over,
Yep.
and he was the celebrity Mexican of our fantasy football league. And so this dude,
We need a token brown guy, guys. Let's pick Weston.
I was like, hey, I got some Al Pastor.
You sound safe.
I got Al Pastor and carnitas, man. Who's gonna cook it? And Weston's like, come, just get out the way, you know.
He was like, Vato's like, I got it, Holmes.
Oh man.
And if you can have dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would it be?
My cousin Ricky. R.I.P. Ricky. Love you, bro. Miss you, man.
Let's go.
Man.
My cousin.
I love it.
And you're our cousin.
And I'm your cousin. Now we're cousins.
Let's go, bro.
Great way to finish it out, man. Appreciate you coming to the lounge and hanging out with us, man.
Hell yeah, man.
You're the man.
Dude, that was fun, man.
We out.
I can't wait to do it again.